What if travel isn't just about where you go, but who you become along the way? John, from your lifetime of travel, how do you think it shapes who you are today?
Everything, because from travel, I learned things that are so important for my life now. For example, how to act with courage and how to deal with the unexpected. My whole life has been one adventure after the other, and almost all of them have been overseas, beginning with going out to sea when I was just 17 years old.
Wow. So we have a lot to talk about, and that includes how to live life with courage. We're going to talk about some of your favorite places around the world. We'll try and narrow it down. There are so many. And not only your favorite places, but why they matter, how travel shapes who you become. And again, being prepared for the unexpected. And as you said, the big one, taking risks, because that is, I think, huge. For those people who are new to Inspire Travels with Patti, I'm Patti Hunt, and I created this channel to inspire you to live life to the fullest. For me, that's through travel, but that's not just about the destination, and that is a lot of what we're going to talk about today. John Graham is an adventurer, former diplomat, author, and speaker who now creates short social videos as Badass Granddad, sharing personal adventure stories with big life lessons tied to courage, leadership, and service. He's active on TikTok, soon on YouTube, with quick narratives that connect directly to values and inspiration from his travels. Welcome, John Graham, Badass Granddad, to Inspired Travels with Patti.
Oh, and thanks, Patty, for asking me. Yes.
So now more travels, more experiences than any probably 10 people I've ever interviewed on the podcast, maybe than any 10 people I've ever met. And the way we met was through LinkedIn. You reached out to me. You said you'd like to be on Inspire Travels with Patti. Why did you reach out to me? Why did you want to be on the podcast?
I don't be offended by this, but it was a LinkedIn bot. I uh, I asked LinkedIn to give me a subset of all of its people. It was about I don't know, a billion people or something on LinkedIn, and I said I want a subset that has two parts to it. First of all, these people have to be at the top of their game. They have to be good at what they do, and second, they have to be conscious of some kind of giving back. Whatever they do, they have to be conscious of the fact that it's also got to be some kind of service, some kind of making the world a better place. Combine those two things together, give me a list. It came up with 2,200 names out of a billion, and your name was on that list. So I hope you're not offended, but a bot found you, Patty. I didn't.
I'm not offended and I'm flattered. And that the question was not to try to get any kind of praise, but we also got on a call and it was more about our combined effort to make the world a better place. And
Yes.
that's what the whole goal was. So, interesting story that I did not know, but there it is. And that will not be edited. Okay. So, let's jump in. Can you share a favorite place and why that place mattered?
It's interesting because my travels have been all about adventuring. That's all I cared about. I didn't really, and I still don't care to go to places where everyone else goes. So from the very beginning, the memorable travels, the stories that are in my memoir, for example, or on Badass Granddad, are all stories of out of the way places or of out of the way things out of the way places. I mean, I waded into wars and revolutions. I hitchhiked around the world, and there's no one single place. And if you want one single place, sometimes it wasn't a pleasurable place. I mean, I spent a year and a half in the war in Vietnam, which I suppose, if you count that as foreign travel, was certainly shaped my life. I hitchhiked around the world, which isn't one place at all, but it was a whole year of moving from one place to the other in areas that were really rough. So it isn't so much the places, the adventures, and that's how I remember it. I have adventures from all over the world. I don't know how many countries I've been in. I lost count a long time ago. And then, of course, I was in the U.S. Foreign Service where I actually lived overseas. But again, it wasn't in London and Paris where I wore fancy clothes. It was in jungles and deserts, places like being in the middle of the revolution in Libya, for example, or the war in Vietnam, or other tough places. So I'm an unusual traveler, Patty, in that I don't say, oh, well, my goodness, I just saw that picture of the cathedral in Milan on the Olympic coverage. That's such a beautiful building. I love Milan and the Last Supper and all that kind of stuff. Nah, that's fine, but that's not travel for me. The kind of travel that I enjoy, the stories I tell, are all about adventures, some of them difficult and dangerous.
There's a lot of people that are part of my audience that are RVers that decided that getting out and going part-time, sometimes full-time. There are people who are connected that just want to have the experiences, the adventures. And a lot of times on the show, I do offer up places as suggestions for people. So instead of suggestions, though, for those people who are kind of questioning, well, travel would be difficult and it would be too much money, too difficult, this, that, or the other. Or bottom line, they are afraid. What suggestions would you give? I mean, I don't know if any of my audience is going out in the middle of a war looking for adventure in that way. So what advice would you give to people?
Sure. And I just wanted to start by saying that's what my travel has been.
Right.
But I understand perfectly well your question. And the thing is, what's important is to look at the benefits of it. And the benefits are enormous. I mean, what I've learned from my travel, just being with peoples of different cultures, for example, has totally broadened how I look at the world, how I look at politics, how I look at relationships, how I even look at things going on in my local hometown, because I've seen something like that in Afghanistan or Malawi or someplace. Um, and also, when you travel, yes, there are things that don't work. I mean, you get lost or whatever, or you lose money or something isn't as it should be. So yeah, there's downsides to it, and you have to put up with that. So it teaches you how to deal with occasional adversity, and to match the occasional adversity with the tremendous positive influence of seeing something that's absolutely incredible. I mean, I can't name a number of things that I think are absolutely incredible. The Petra, for example, in Jordan, the ruins in Jordan, or you name it. I mean, I've been all over the place, but it's mostly the people. It's mostly the people, and that would be my first counsel is sure, by all means, go to the Prada or go to the Louvre or do all the things that you kind of need to do because these places are famous for a reason. But at the same time, understand that the real benefits of travel come from meeting people and from testing yourself and doing things that you thought maybe you were too scared to do, but damn it, you did it. And boy, are you glad that you did it because now not only do you have tales to tell your children and grandchildren, but you look back and say, wow, do you remember that meal we had in a tent someplace in Kenya? Oh, whoa, that was fabulous. I'll never forget that.
And that's again what I've learned. And just over the last several years, when I started to, go out in the RV, I realized that those places everybody was talking about, the, Yellowstone National Park or the big bucket list places that everybody was talking about were the places I felt like I had to do and I had to check them off my list. But I felt more excitement and joy in being on this farm with this young couple that was starting a farm, and it was just a beautiful area and really just taking in, like you said, the culture, even though it was a farm in this, in it was actually in Tennessee, just to learn about people in that area and and Johnny Cash had a museum there. And while that may not have been something I would have thought of, would have been on my bucket list or on the top of my list, just being in that experience was amazing. And I think part of being able to do that is understanding that being present where you are, just enjoying where you are. The other thing you talked about was things going wrong. I have always considered myself a planner. I wanted to know if we were going on a trip, what was going to happen, when we were going to get to the airport, what we were going to do, what we were going to see, making sure to see everything possible because I may not return to that place. And we all know that the best laid plans, things happen. So, do you have suggestions for people when, if anybody knows about things sometimes going wrong, it would be you. So, do you have suggestions for people to be able to handle those unexpected situations?
Well, my suggestions aren't any different from a lot of other people's suggestions. You need to do some planning. For example, you need to be aware that you might get you 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 might get ill, or you might run out of some supplies or something, or your allergies will be affected by being in that place. You need to do some planning ahead, and so that therefore you are reasonably capable of coping with whatever's coming your way. And that helps a lot so that you're not blindsided when you find out that you're in a place where absolutely nobody speaks English. Well, you're prepared for that. You have a guide or you have a translator or whatever. At least you have a phrase book. Uh, Whatever. Or if you're going someplace in your RV, the simple thing of making sure there are enough gas stations or repair shops along the way. So planning is important. But the other thing is also to anticipate the stuff that's hard to anticipate and to see it as a joy and a test. And perhaps coming back, it's the most fun you ever had when something happens you really didn't expect. Well, we were there, and would you believe it started to rain? Oh my God! Or whatever. Or we were with a bunch uh, of Maasai warriors someplace, and they actually asked us to come into their village, and I just never understood what that would be, and whatever. So be prepared for the unexpected for sure, but on the other hand, welcome the unexpected. Because if your vacationing is all about taking selfies on the Spanish Steps or Westminster Abbey, well, fine, that's okay. But look at the magazine pictures of you in a crowd of 1,000 people on the Spanish Steps or Westminster Abbey. Is that really going to be a tale you're going to come back and tell your friends, even when you show them the pictures at your next bridge club meeting or whatever?
Right.
No, it's going to be meeting a street vendor in a part of Rome that nobody goes to, and this street vendor not only sells you a wonderful Italian meal, but he talks about his grandchildren in ways that really get you talking about yours, and you have a marvelous conversation with a street vendor. That's what you remember, not taking a selfie up Spanish Steps.
And that's true. And that's amazing advice is really looking when I look at all the travel that I've done and looking at the things that really stand out. Yes, I've been to the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta. I've been there twice. I've been up in a hot air balloon. The experience is amazing. I'm not going to say it's not, but I met people that we went to dinner and I got to talk about what goes on behind the scenes of the hot air balloon or learning about the culture around the balloon fiesta and why it began. And so some of the off the beaten path people that I didn't expect to meet or be in situations I didn't necessarily plan or experience or anticipate were some of the things that stick out the most in my mind. They are the things I remember the most. And it is sometimes, even though I'm a content creator, it is about sometimes putting the phone down and being present in the moment. So that is incredible advice. I love you talked about culture. And for me, being in a situation where you're really taking the culture in. I'm actually going to be interviewing somebody who is doing a pilgrimage through Italy. And
Mm.
Italy is on my bucket list. It is something I absolutely want to do. And every time I talk about Italy, people say, well, you want to go to Rome and all the typical places. These people that run this pilgrimage actually walk. It is a walking tour. I have not learned all about that. I'll learn about that when I interview them. But they actually are immersed in the culture. They stop at places where the nonna, grandma, makes dinner and then sits down and talks to you. You're in the culture. You're not where all the tourists are and looking at just the big major parts of Italy. You're actually going behind the scenes, so to speak. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. And that just sounds amazing. Do you have an experience? You talked about certain situations that you've been in. Do you have experience with something that just was totally unexpected? I know you have a lot of them. Can you pick one?
Talking about Italy, I remember it was really pretty stupid on our part. We got so excited we were in Italy and we had to rent a car, my wife and I, and we were in Pisa, I think, someplace. Anyway, in central Italy, and it was we got so entranced in wandering around, we forgot where we parked our car, and and so what I remember from that whole trip is asking Italians in broken Italians help us find our rent car, and they did, and it was a marvelous hide and seek episode for the whole afternoon as people were making suggestions as to where we might have parked the car. Stupid, yes, but fun at the same time. On a more serious note, I remember once by myself as a young man. I happened to be hitchhiking, but you wouldn't have to be hitchhiking. And I was in Jericho, and I met a bunch of other young people about my age, and they were happy to try their high school English out on me. So we had a wonderful time sharing tales in Jericho, and one of the key things was about the whole Middle Eastern situation. And these young people were really upset with what was going on in the Middle East. Even then, this is way before Gaza. Uh, they were really upset and very angry with Israel. Most Palestinians are. And there's no question at all with some of the people I talked to that afternoon, had a great time with, shared a meal with, probably, strapped bonds on themselves or otherwise got into violent situations in the Middle East. But it made me understand what the hell was going on in the Middle East. These people really care about their land. They really care about their cultures. Not just, of course, the Palestinians, the Israelis as well. And so I really began to understand why this clash, Israelis, Palestinians, is so hard to solve. Why people feel that strongly? Because I got a whole afternoon talking to young Palestinians. I really understood. And a lot of that understanding has helped me 30 years later, 40 years later, when I was doing some serious peacemaking in the Middle East as a Foreign Service officer and beyond. What I used a lot of the information I got that afternoon as a young man talking with angry young Palestinian youth in Jericho.
There's always something to learn from people, and being able to sit down with these young men and get a whole different view of what was going on had to be incredible. Okay, let's talk a little bit before we wrap up. I know that you have a TikTok, a YouTube channel called Badass Granddad. Why did you start that? What is that about? Tell us the vision here.
I mean, there are a lot of things. Even at age 83, I keep expanding. So Badass Granddad, I started more or less as a lark because I needed to reach the demographic much younger than myself. And I knew that I couldn't do 10-minute presentations. And COVID had basically shut me down as a platform speaker. So I tried this, and I started with TikTok because their demographic was decidedly younger than my own. And I realized that the hook for me is my adventure stories. So what I do on Badass Granddad, no episode is more than 3 minutes. The first 2 minutes is some wild adventure story of my travels, and but then the last minute is some guidance, some lessons learned type stuff about dealing with situations that you might encounter in travel, and dealing with things like courage and persistence and other things that I can talk about, but only after I've told the travel story first, because then I've got people's attention. So that's how it all started, and I had no idea it would expand like it did. Now I have way more listeners on Instagram and YouTube than I do on TikTok. But I've got all three channels going. I've got 110 or 120,000 followers. I mean, that makes me an I have to laugh. Makes me an influencer, just
You
like
are.
just like
Yes.
those, just like a young woman that shows you how to paint your nails on a 3 minute segment. I do it with Badass Granddad. I'm having a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm meeting a whole lot of people, and the feedback is really positive, and I really had some wonderful conversations as a result of this. So that's that. But I also want to put in a notice that my main umbrella for actions these days is not that so much as the Giraffe Heroes Project, which your viewers can get to at giraffe.org. And there we deal with people taking risks, sticking their necks out, hence the metaphor giraffe, because a giraffe has a long neck. And we find people sticking their necks out and we make them as famous as we can, creating role models for other people who might want to stick their necks out to help solve a public problem in their community or beyond. We've been doing it for 44 years, and it had a tremendous impact, I think, around the world. And that's why I mentioned it on your program, because a large part of what we do is Giraffe Heroes International, where we're looking for heroes, people doing heroically beneficial things for their own culture, whether it's women battling for women's rights in the jungle part of Sierra Leone, or someone elsewhere in the world battling a corrupt leadership, or an environmental disaster or whatever. And it's great because that allows us to pull in other, like mostly Americans who I still think don't know nearly enough about foreign cultures. It allows us to bring to our own culture here in America the idea that there's a lot of brave people, a lot of really wonderful people out there in the world, and we should pay attention to them and learn from them.
Thank you. And I was going to ask you about that. And for people listening, they can find out everything about you by going to johngraham.org, and I'll put it in the show notes. And then they'll find giraffe.org, as well as your TikTok, your Instagram, your YouTube. So much incredible content. And we just touched the surface of things that you have done in your life. And I think one of the big messages to leave with is it is never too late to start something new, because if you could start a TikTok, Instagram, YouTube channel at your age, it's not too late for anyone to
Oh,
start something.
and it's not too late to go travel. I mean, RVs are great, are a great idea. And if you're younger and more active, then hiking trips or whatever, or maybe do something really wild, like go on one of those Antarctic cruises or something. There's all kinds of adventures out there. And 83 is the new 63. Come on. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff to do out there. And yeah, it jerks you out of your out of the same old, but it will enrich your life, and you have plenty of life left.
Well, thank you for that. That is an incredible place to stop on. I want to thank you so much, Badass Granddad, for being here on Inspired Travels with Patty. Greatly appreciate it. And I want to inspire my listeners, if this information was helpful, if it resonated with you, please hit the follow or subscribe button. Thank you, John Graham, for being on and giving all of the incredible information.
I'm glad to be here, Patty, and thanks for asking me. Safe
You are
travel.
welcome. Thanks for your bot reaching out to me. And to let people know travel isn't just about where you go, it's about how you live. And I'm encouraging you to live life to the fullest every day.